Power restoration.
Four trucks right here.
I think I do this.
So don't get excited.
Where we always do. We have power.
Yeah, they are. Cole, he worked night.
Yeah. Okay.
For 5 days.
We're on the same line, I think, or that team one that comes in.
I wonder about.
You might just want to do a quick update.
You look at it?
That's all I need.
But yeah, it's missed, you know, but yeah.
I just think I've always.
Americans First, Florida Baptist, disaster relief.
I have no idea yet.
I had to wait for mom. Good.
Yeah, I did. I got it.
So maybe check it when it's on.
I don't know if you were got it.
That's what, right.
You had to call taxes, they shut it down.
I told him, when the EOC will leave here, I told him.
Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, is that?
We didn't get out there till Saturday.
Yeah, it used to be down the city.
Sunday, now we're Monday.
No, your dad's down the city. Yeah, okay. But then I'm gonna look, he's like, did I forget anything?
And all of you know, I work on mine.
EOC to make sure.
Same roads, like.
Yeah.
I'll bet before you get to that.
Well, mine was at 7.
Mark driveway.
Yeah.
All fun too.
Did you move it?
Not know sure where it's at,
Well, at least it didn't go to the bed in the hospital.
you know. Sign that was out by the main road, you can tell by the red water limits.
Yeah.
That had to be the power.
New piece that they built.
Yeah.
Good day.
Wonderful.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, we're good. We just, I don't know.
Good morning. Okay, who sent that? He did? Well, I need to go to State Energy and take care of his district then. I appreciate you. That don't come down. Thank you. It's not live, that's why I'm down there.
He's out of here too, it looks like.
Well, they told me they didn't need nothing but water, and John said he was gonna take water and he didn't, and so I'm glad you took it.
What was that?
I said, when I talked to you the other day, you said you were gonna take water to Osceola and you didn't.
Yes, ma'am, it was taken.
No, it wasn't, because they said they did not get water for Osceola JR store.
Well, we weren't taking water to Austin JR store because the site was being
But that's what I asked you to take it, you said you would. But I'm glad they got it.
They wasn't in there panic when I got there. They really wasn't in there panic.
Yeah, well, when I talked to them, I said, did you need more water? I said, we never got the first water.
Really? I mean, we took, keep me good there. I sat there over an hour.
They got a
Nobody come by
protest.
next night.
Part B, yeah, that's all right.
People really panicking for water. I mean, they all, a bunch of them had water. I said, they're talking to all the people that's in the town.
Are you? Did anybody bring coffee?
Party foul, no coffee. No leave.
I need an intermediate at this point.
Hey.
Hey, y'all.
Good job.
I don't know if it's staying in my parking lot there. They told me it's. was really good.
Let y'all know, we are supposed to start at noon, but we do got a couple running a little bit behind us. So we'll give it just a few minutes and get started.
And then working is 95 degrees.
I took care of that.
Damn.
That's true.
You had it lower right here, Victor. Would this be a good time to sing happy birthday, or do you want us to wait?
What's that?
Would this be a good time to sing happy birthday, or should we wait?
Let's do bypass
Well, happy birthday to you.
that.
Happy birthday.
Whose birthday is it? Well, happy birthday. You're gonna be laboring on your birthday.
That's exactly right, I'm 222s.
It took me just a minute, sorry, I'm tired.
It's 39 today.
39, right on.
I remember 39.
I vaguely do.
What'd you say?
I vaguely do.
Vaguely.
It seems way in the rear view mirror today.
I tell you what you have to watch out for any birthday that ends with a 0.
Absolutely.
Anyone that ends with a 0.
Just get worse than 40,
Yeah.
60, stay that much.
Yeah, that's what they say, what, 44 today, that's what somebody called me. He's a,
Right.
Yeah, our birthdays, I'm off the park, he said, what are you?
44. I said, yeah, I think I was off track last time.
I had myself a year ahead, but I think when I turned 36, I kept saying I was 37, he said, no. 36.
You know, when we were all turning 30, they were having these parties with black cakes and all the black stuff for 30. For 30.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I saw it, like I said, I saw folks posting a couple years back on Facebook that they turned 40 and it was too.
Feel like it's not that.
Come on there, they said,
Yeah.
40.
Simon's on it.
Turned 50, that's not at all.
I didn't call that when we were talking about it.
Sometimes you don't in June.
To get it in writing.
Exactly.
Jim and I are about close there.
Mr. Dennis got to feed a little bit, I believe.
You know,
Just a little bit.
I feel blessed every day. Y'all talking about 50, 60, that's okay, I'm gonna stop right there.
Dips is a cool cat. You see him out riding around in his fancy car with his hat on. You can't say nothing, can you?
Ma'am. wife still look the lipstick prints on my
I
shirt.
bet she does.
Oh, Lord.
Touching that
I don't have no perfume like that.
No.
Excuse me. How you doing?
Getting there.
There he is.
My apologies, everybody.
We,
But
wait on Mr. Bishop probably. Need to wait on Mr. Bishop.
Yeah, he should,
Oh,
let
Mr.
me see
Bishop's
how
down
close
there?
he is.
You meet him.
All right, well, hey, you got some more years on me.
Your car must drive faster than you.
I guarantee it does.
I can tell you right now, I get behind.
I was all along in the back. I'm not gonna talk about how fast I was
ETA.
maybe doing, so.
Got the fastest car in town, he goes 55 in it.
Oh, I get good. Hey, I get behind and going to the landfill and coming back from.
So you're just 5 minutes
That's
away.
about, can't ride this slow.
See, you said agent when you
Oh,
said.
yeah. I'm like one tank ride.
He's almost here.
What's that?
Conrad's almost here.
Okay.
They're actually refreshing.
I told Mark last time, I was like, I was going to shower and home sandwich.
Yeah, that's it. Third night.
You should ration that better.
Margaret, were you in school with Bradley or Eric?
Eric and I were the same age, yes ma'am.
know how old you are.
Yes ma'am, yes ma'am. We 48 and whatever, the 20th this month, so.
Yeah, add another year to that.
Just 48. You're right, I was trying.
Uh-huh.
Go 50 as long as I can.
You know, Eric just turned 49.
Yeah.
Bradley would have been
It's
50.
August?
August 28th.
Yeah.
And, in April, Bradley would have been 50.
Right. This AC's nice.
What's that?
This AC, it's really nice. I'm saying. It feels really good in here. And I stay.
I don't know, I could that one knock in a cold shower.
Hey, well, I was just telling Danny, at the end of the day, it's so hot, that cold shower felt great. At about 11 o'clock, it was nice.
Think a cold shower is about like.
It still is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we better pray. If Cat 3 done what it done to this town, if it done it half of this country, we wouldn't survive.
Right.
Morning, sir.
I will not be staying next time, just so you know. My house will be vacant.
Just came in from Orlando.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I hope you had fun down there. Good.
Yeah, we had fun.
You watched one team play, that other team didn't do much of playing.
All right, we'll go ahead and, get started, everyone stand, Commissioner Jeff, Commissioner Quick.
Father in heaven, we thank you right now for this life, health, and strength. We thank you, Father, for the visitation of the Holy Spirit. We thank you for how you've taken care of us throughout this pandemic, this storm. Father, we realize it could have been much worse. We pray for those that's in bad shape right now. We pray for those that's doing just fine. We thank you for what you're going to do, Father, and you knew all about this from the beginning of the world, and we thank you right now We thank you for your blessings, and we ask you right now that you lead us and guide us, that we're able to do what's best for our citizens. Help us, Father, help us. God knows we need your help. These blessings and all other blessings we ask right now. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting Monday, September 1st, 2023, 12 p.m. This is a special emergency meeting in reference to Hurricane Idalia. Due to outages, we will not have a conference line set up. When the chairperson opens the meeting for public comment, please follow the below instructions. If you wish to speak, please dial *5. The moderator will unmute your line when it's your turn to speak and notify you by announcing the last 4 digits of the telephone number. Please announce your name and address, and you'll be allowed to speak for 3 minutes. Any person wishing to address the board regarding an agenda item will be giving 3 minutes for comment. A commenter may only speak 1 time for each agenda item. Approval of number 3, approval of the agenda. I move. We have a motion to approve. We have a second. Second, all in favor? Aye. 4, board to extend the local state of emergency for Hurricane Idalia. Now, do we want to read this resolution? Do we want to read this resolution?
Make a motion, second.
Got a motion and a second to read the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Taylor County Board of County Commissioners Executive Order extending the declaration of local state of emergency. Whereas Section 252.38, subsection 3A, Florida statute gives authority to political subdivisions to declare and enact a state of local emergency for a period, thereby waiving the procedures and formalities otherwise required of the political subdivision by law. And whereas Section 252.38, subsection 4, subsection A, Florida statutes allows an unlimited period for local state of emergency issued in response to hurricanes or other weather-related emergencies. Whereas on August 26, 2023, Governor of Florida issued Executive Order number 23-171 declaring a state of emergency and directing the state comprehensive emergency management plan and other response, recovery, and mitigation plans necessary to cope with the emergency to be implemented. And whereas on August 28, 2023, the Governor of Florida issued Executive Order number 23-172, amending Executive Order number 23-171, expanding the number of counties under a state of emergency in preparation for Tropical Storm Idalia for 33 counties to 46 counties. And whereas on August 29, 2023, the Governor of Florida issued Executive Order number 23-175, amending Section 1 of Executive Order 23-171, declaring an existing state of emergency due to the foregoing conditions projected to constitute a major disaster. And whereas on August 29, 2023, the Board of County Commissioners declared a local state of emergency, authorizing and directing the Taylor County Emergency Management Director to take whatever prudence actions as may be necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the community. And whereas the results of Hurricane Idalia continues to pose a threat to the health, safety, and welfare of the community, the Taylor County Board of County Commissioners hereby extends the local state of emergency for an additional period commencing on September 4th, 2023, and will continue in effect through September 30th, 2023, if not canceled before that period. And now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Taylor County, Florida, except herein amended, the local state of emergency ratified and affirmed.
Do we have a motion to approve the
Motion
resolution?
to approve the resolution.
Have a motion to approve the resolution. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Now, do we need to approve to extend the?
Are we are we thinking about extending it for a week by week?
It said in there,
September 30th.
It's the remainder of the month, so y'all don't have to meet every week.
I make a motion that we extend it to the end of the month.
it'll take that long. It'll take a month
Oh, yes.
to get up, or from maybe, to get everything cleaned up, I believe.
Yeah, that was already included in our previous motion and vote, so I think we're okay. So we don't need to, we don't need to do nothing else. We don't need.
No, I just wanted to clarify that resolution would extend the local state of emergency through the end of the month.
Okay. I withdraw my motion.
All right. Move on to 5. Hurricane Idalia recovery update by Mr. John Live, Emergency Management Director.
All right, storm update. Just so everybody is aware, I requested a CERT liaison to come in from FDEM prior to the storm's landfall. Basically to come into the EOC and help guide us through the process. And she was outstanding in doing her job, guiding us through, and immediately after landfall, it was determined that due to the extent of the damage that was observed, we requested an incident management team to come in. The incident management team from Region 7 responded to us, and they have done an outstanding job in supporting us logistically, financially, just the whole 9 yards. They've been a super great help to me and the county. So I want everybody to understand that those folks that have come in from South Florida to help us have done an outstanding job in doing that. We're 5 days post-storm. Right now, the comfort stations, the shower trailers, the laundry trailers, and the porta potties that we have strategically placed throughout the county, they are in use. We did have some hiccups with getting those stations established, but we have managed that through the state EOC. Whenever you order those kind of things in the mission, you put the verbiage in there that is a full wraparound service. Obviously, when you are dealing with a lot of sites and a company that is trying to service a lot of different areas, a lot of different counties, some things obviously are going to fall through the cracks sometimes. But I think all those issues have been addressed. My main priority in getting those comfort stations throughout the county is addressing the fact that a lot of our residents still don't have power. I reached out to a person in Steinhatchee that was helping us coordinate a center down there. I asked what is a need that you can see, and I was kind of surprised when he stated, well, people just would like to be able to take a hot shower. So that's when I immediately entered the mission for the comfort stations. And obviously we knew that that was going to be the case throughout the county, not just Steinhatchee. So, and then it didn't take us long to figure out that that was probably a good call, because a lot of people that we were told were using it, the site in Shady Grove, matter of fact, that night ran out of water. So we immediately had to jump on the line with FDM and get somebody on the ball to come down here, and all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but to make sure that all the sites were being managed like they needed to be managed. Supplies and distribution. It didn't take long. I mean, just probably the next day or two after landfall, we had set up a pod, a point of distribution that was managed by the National Guard at the bus loop at the primary school. 15 semi-loads of water, MREs, and tarps was set up there. And obviously it was open to the whole county. Anybody could go up there and get all the water they wanted, all the MREs they wanted, and the tarps that they needed. So it was there for 3 days. When the decision was made that we were going to try to open the schools on 2, excuse me, that we were gonna open the schools on Tuesday, I had to enter a mission to relocate that pod. Key Chevrolet, the owners of the property, graciously allowed us to move that pod, which at that point was had dwindled down to 5 trailers out of the 15 that still had supplies left in them. We moved that up there. Whenever we opened that pod yesterday morning, my primary concern was the outlying areas. Steinhatchee, we had moved some Salem, Shady Grove, Econfina. I think I might be missing a spot or two. I'm sorry. Offselling, right. So before opening that site to the public like it was at the other spot, I coordinated with as many people as I could to have trucks and trailers to respond to take trailer supplies to the outlying areas to ensure that everybody had gotten what they needed. At that point, after that, we were done with that, then we opened it up to the public. Now, all this was coordinated. We put every notice that we could out on the Everbridge notification system, and at the same time, we put it out on our Facebook page. I understand that not everybody is on Facebook and not everybody is on Everbridge, but I think our subscription rate to Everbridge, once people started finding out that that was the best system and the quickest way that they could find out the information, a lot of people started subscribing to that, and it has been a great help. And the citizens of the county, they have had a lot of good things to say about that system. The pod, all 15 truckloads of the supplies are almost gone. We only have like probably 10 pallets of water left. The water is still up there at Key Motors. It's still up there for anybody to come get if they want it. We still have different organizations that are offering supplies that are coming in. As that comes in, we will put those notifications out and let citizens know where those supplies are so they can come get them. Feeding schedule. We are organizing with organizations just like the Salvation Army, Red Cross, and so many other organizations.
Joy of Hope?
Sir?
The Joy of Hope.
Joy of Hope?
Yes.
There's several. We're kind of organizing that, verifying that list with the Department of Health, because they are going around inspecting sites, making sure that they're safe. We're using their help and we're organizing a list and basically making a 7-day schedule to ensure that each of the outlying areas, because obviously Perry being the center, there's already a lot of folks here that are offering meals in Perry. So we're ensuring that all the outlying areas, when I say outlying areas, obviously I mean Alcella, Convena, Shady Grove, Salem, Steinhatchee, and those places, that they're taken care of also. And when I say that we are scheduling hot meals to be served to those areas.
It's also Keaton Beach.
Yes, sir, Keaton Beach, I'm sorry. Base camp, the 500-man base camp was established in the field that was permitted, or it was leased by Evangel Church up north of Perry on 19. If you haven't went by there, I suggest that you go by there if you want to see something that is very, very impressive. This is literally a 500-man city, or capable of handling 500 people, responders, linemen, any support personnel that come in. It has everything from padded bunks to all those, a medical room, comfort room, a cafeteria bigger than this building, all to support the effort of supporting our county and the people that are coming in to help us. Obviously the stores have been open for several days now. And that is something that a lot of times that we have to take into consideration. We want the local economy. We have a lot of people bringing in supplies, that they want to donate to the citizens of the county. At the same time, we need to consider our local economy. Setting up a truck and giving away stuff right across the street from a local store that's trying to make a living, that's just the kind of things that I need to take into consideration whenever, we're making decisions. So I just kind of wanted to let y'all be aware of that. The eye wall, myself and Chief Cruz, we drove through, I'd heard a lot of damage in the Pine Ridge area. And not just because it's in, what they call an affluent, area of town. We drove through there, and whenever I started seeing the type of damage that was there, I called Mark Wool, who was the director of NOAA in Tallahassee, just to confirm that they hadn't had any reports of tornadoes going through. And what he advised me was that there was no tornadic activity. However, that is where the eye wall went through. And whenever you have obviously Cat 4 landfall coming through and you have that kind of rotation, tight rotation, it's going to seem like you have a tornado going through. But obviously, unfortunately, right dead through the middle of Perry is where the eye wall went. All right, so now we're starting the recovery process. And that recovery process is going to mean that we have disaster recovery centers from FEMA and the state are being established. Our FEMA partners, they advise that I couldn't tell you how many people have already reached out to FEMA and went to the disaster recovery center in the Winn-Dixie parking lot. Whenever they arrived today, they had over 30 people waiting in line. And once again, all those numbers, all that contact information, we're trying to push out on Everbridge and social media, and we're getting a positive response for that.
Can I ask a question, or you want us to wait?
No, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, with FEMA, tell us exactly what will FEMA do, because people have asked me that, and I'm not sure exactly what FEMA will do.
Okay, so unfortunately, a lot of people have, I guess, I'm not gonna say the wrong idea about FEMA, and they say, well, I need FEMA to do this for me or whatever. FEMA, pretty much, their role in a disaster is whenever we have damage, everything has to be assessed. We have to make sure that we meet the thresholds of the damage so we can get reimbursed and we can get our citizens assistance for that recovery of their homes, the financial assistance for that. FEMA, they are not the people that comes out, they don't put the tarps on your home. They don't do the boots on the ground work, so to speak, that our volunteer people come in and do to clear somebody's yard and that sort of thing. FEMA is pretty much limited to the financial side of things.
So for an individual then, are there any financial opportunities for an individual, or is it all just the government side?
No, that's the process. So after a disaster, they come in and they send out teams throughout the affected area. And those teams, they assess what the damages are. And they pretty much have the best guess of the monetary amount of what the damages are to see if you meet the threshold for certain types of assistance.
On an individual basis?
Yes, ma'am. Well, no, not just an individual's home. I'm talking about the affected area.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a countywide effort.
Countywide, yes, ma'am.
But they are gonna go on an individual basis.
Yes, and that is one of the things. So you either have SBA, which is a small business, like whenever the Steinhatchee areas flooded 2 years ago, we only met the threshold for SBA assistance. And what that was is basically like a no-interest loan to the homeowner to help rebuild their home.
Well, know how far along they are in the completion of that assessment.
Well, the initial assessments have been done. Now, they haven't, I'm not gonna say officially what thresholds we have met so far.
No, I'm just wondering how far along they are.
But I'm most certain that we have met just about every threshold there is.
I should think so.
So, but like I say, that's not the official word. So, Ms. Fiegel, or Commissioner Fiegel, it's, and that's one of the reasons why we encourage people to call the FEMA number and to go up there to the DRC that's set up at the Winn-Dixie parking lot. So these people can talk individually to these folks. That's why they're there, to help inform the folks of what they can get and what kind of assistance that's offered to them.
Okay, to your knowledge, do they help with a roof replacement, or just say when you've got, you know, all the debris in your yard with all the pine trees and all, do they help with the cleanup of that?
Well, as far as the monetary side of it, it all depends on the person, their financial situation. There's a lot of factors that goes into how FEMA can help that person.
So is it income based then? Is that what you're saying?
Some of it can be, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do you have a valid number for FEMA? The one that I got off of y'all's website, I put it on Facebook, and then I got responses back that said, this number doesn't work.
Yes, ma'am. There was some confusion initially, but we posted the numbers that were given to us.
Do you have it
But
now?
those numbers, the correct number is on the site, and it was issued on the.
Okay, but you don't have it with you,
I
just
don't know,
on Facebook?
I don't have it, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Fiegel, I can probably answer a little bit of your FEMA question. I've been working with them a little closer than John last couple of days because he's been so busy. So what they're doing is individual residence registrations individually, and they're going to determine what they can assist you with then. He can't answer that question because he doesn't know what their thresholds and levels are. Everyone has to register themselves individually to see what they can offer.
And then somebody at some point in time will come around or contact you or something?
They will handle every bit of that. Once you register with them, they take that entire portion of help, and it's removed from anybody in this room, anybody in this county that's helping, and they will handle individual each person. But they're doing that because they have to protect individual identity and information and security for those people. So they want to take that whole thing and just work with individuals so that we don't have any information process.
So the best thing for us to do then is people contact us, is just say, you know, get in touch with FEMA, and there'll be an assessment, and then they'll determine what they will or can or can't do.
Ma'am, they need to go to the DRC.
Yes.
They need to go to the Disaster Recovery Center where they can sit down with the FEMA representatives and work all this out with them.
It takes about 30 to 40 minutes for each person, so it's not a quick process, but they gather a lot of information from individuals to establish what they can do.
They're going door to door too, aren't they?
They are going door to door in certain areas, but they don't have enough teams to go to every door.
Do they do the same thing as there, door to door, as they doing up there at the center?
Very similar, yes, sir.
Okay.
I just retexted all the information that I can't remember when I sent it, but there's 3 different options. They can go online, they can call 800-621-3362, or they can download the FEMA app.
621.
800-621-3362 is the telephone number.
Just on it,
Yeah, I just resent it.
Yeah, it was one of them that come through the other day, anyway.
There will be that smaller FEMA bus at Winn-Dixie Park Lot until September 9th, and they'll make a decision whether to expand or pull back on that.
For September 9th.
Yeah.
Kind of right now, they're cut off date.
Okay, so we've looked at a few other sites around Perry that could accommodate more people who register as well, and if they decide they need that, they will actually make it a bigger operation.
Okay, so, the next step in this process, the state and FEMA they will be sending out, the second phase of the damage assessment teams. And once again, on the state side, it will be a very, extensive and detailed process. These damage assessment teams will pretty much go to all the affected areas. The damage will be determined whether it is minor, major, or the home is destroyed. All that will be documented, photographs, We've sent out instructions to everyone, especially if their house was flooded, what pictures to take, how to measure the water line and document that, because all that will be needed, for the damage assessments. If anybody has any questions, by all means, they can call the Emergency Operations Center, the number 838-3575. And we'll have people, answering the phones for that, 850-838-3575. The incident management team and obviously all the resources in the county. We have some resources that we have started demobilizing because the need is no longer there. As we move along in the process and we see that some resources are no longer needed, obviously we will demobilize that. And when I say demobilize, that means a mission will be put in to the state ESC for them to either come get it or, handle it appropriately.
Where are those areas right now?
Everywhere. I mean, not to be, but literally resources are everywhere in the county.
I mean, that you're gonna demobilize.
It all depends on where they're at and what they're.
So we haven't started that process yet.
Yes, ma'am, we have. There are some things like, an example of the police department, they were on a generator that we had pulled in. When they got power, we demobilized that and the generator will be picked up. It's that sort of thing. The National Guard, obviously we had the 250 National Guard that come in, and they assisted with our search and rescue efforts. Obviously when that mission was completed, they were demobilized and they left because obviously there's no reason. I tried to keep them to help, to help our citizens clean up the yards. However, that is not an allowable mission for them. So we have to, but luckily, and I'll say this, we were finally able to put some numbers out to people, and I've been trying to get this put together because obviously a lot of people were getting scammed. We had a lot of these, what we call predators, going around knocking on people's doors saying, I'll clean your home or your yard for $10,000. We had one situation to where unfortunately a man was taken for $27,000, but that was immediately reported and that's currently under investigation. But now we have some numbers that we have posted out for folks, reputable volunteer organizations that are all going to go out and help our citizens, get their places clean.
Yeah, I just want to tell you that, we have lots of people coming by our house. And we have one person that gave us an estimate of $68,000 to clean our yard up.
I don't doubt it.
I'm like, he must think we're totally crazy. $68,000.
And we asked, and we're asking, and I think we finally got that out, that if anyone is approached by somebody like that, to try to get a picture, try to get as much information as they can, because we do have a task force in the county that is working on that kind of stuff.
We've got his, he wrote it down. I don't know if it's got his right name on there or not. Who knows?
You got it, I want it.
Okay, well, we've got that. I'll show it to you. That outrageous.
You need to tell the people to take a picture of their tag, and if they got a name on their truck.
We put out something that I think it was 2 days ago, and it was actually a list that if somebody comes up to your home, there were 5 things that you needed to verify, and obviously business license, a valid contractor's number,
Insurance.
they had to have proof of insurance, and also take a picture of the person and their vehicle.
Take a tag number and a picture of the person.
Well, this guy's probably done left Taylor County, because I don't know how many people would be crazy enough to do something like that.
We may have already identified him, but if you can get the information to John, we can follow up on that. Yeah.
So I met with DBPR yesterday. They've been active in the area as well. So if you see the signs about it's a felony, they are concentrating on roofing contractors. and also, they assured me that they would reach out to the Attorney General's office about price gouging, because that is illegal as well. So as far as I know, we have those resources in the area, monitoring that activity. And then you have,
How do we get a hold, I mean, how do we report it? Is there a number we call? or-
Normal, actually, you can do it through either the hotline or the normal reporting process for law enforcement here through dispatch.
Okay.
You can do either one. But we're gonna push out an actual Bureau of Arson and Insurance Investigations number later today. Those folks are in town, they're making cases now. They're actually looking for a few to arrest right now. So they're helping as well.
I don't know what you can.
Yeah.
One lady paid $27,000 in Pine Ridge to get her yard cleaned up.
Yeah.
$27,000.
Yeah, we got those
The
estimates
story
too.
come to me, now, that might not be correct, but that's on the street, there was one lady had wrote a check for $27,000 to get all the trees cut out of her yard.
Well, we got estimates everywhere from, 7,000 up to 68,000. A lot of them in the 20s. Yeah.
I do want to say that I know that I couldn't get a lot of stuff done as quick as I wanted to get it done. I did not want at the end of this event for people to be saying that this wasn't done or that wasn't done. But I just hope that everybody can understand whenever you have such a catastrophic event, things don't move fast. I can say that the state of Florida and so many other people have come in to help us. But like I say, things just don't happen as fast as I want them to sometimes, nor as bad as obviously you have our citizens. They're wanting things and they're needing things, but I promise you, we're pushing it out to them just as fast as we can.
John, you know, all of us have been totally overwhelmed. Or I can certainly say that for myself, overwhelmed. And I think the citizens are overwhelmed. And, you know, when you're hot and you haven't been able to sleep and, you know, you're searching for, you know, the things that you really need, everybody gets in a panic. And, you know, we've all been there, stressed out and overwhelmed. And so I can't even imagine on y'all's end. You know, I know what it's been for me, and I'm sure it's thousands of times worse on y'all's end. You know, so we'll get through this. I know there's lessons to be learned on all of our part. You know, and that can be discussed later. But
I'll share this with y'all. Before we came to this meeting, and I've been meaning to do this for the last day or two, I've started a note journal and a Word document taking notes of what to do or how to do things, that lessons that we've learned through this.
Yeah.
And obviously there's been a lot, and just if you're not aware, this region has not had something like this happen since the 1800s. So
125 years.
well, there you go. So there's a lot for us to learn, and I'm trying to document that. So hopefully whoever replaces me years down the road, they'll be able to crack that open and say, okay, we need to do this.
it can happen again next month.
I hope not.
what is our burn rate as of today? Or even yesterday, do you know?
I know what it is right now.
What is it?
$7.8 million.
So that's what's called the burn rate. That is the plus or minus
Plus or minus 30%.
30%. That is the amount of resources that have been expended in Taylor County for this event thus
7
far.
point what?
7.8 million.
Okay.
Now, let me ease your mind on something. Okay, so whenever we get, and that is missions entered to the state of Florida, that amount is not counting like, our 214s that are being turned in by everybody. You know, you're documenting your people, you know, they're logging their activities and stuff like that. When you enter a mission into the state of Florida, like for the comfort stations that we've requested, the generators, the incident management team, the whole gamut, when that is entered into a mission, those are issued by the state of Florida. Those are not expenditures for our county. And so that number, that burn rate, I could safely say 90 some odd % of it is on the state, not Taylor County.
Yeah.
And I know the first meeting that we had, and when they said the burn rate was $3-something million, I seen some panicking faces, and it was like, okay, let's have a talk. Let's have a talk. So.
We've talked about it a couple of times.
And it was her, so she was, I'm like, let's compliment her. So she was.
Well, do you yet have any idea of the total damages to Taylor County in terms of dollar amount? Any idea?
There were estimates. I guess I can say, our debris management, company, I forgot
We
to
need to
talk
talk about
that.
that, yeah.
Okay,
So
sorry.
back up. You can sit
I'm
down.
sorry. Anyway, their initial estimates was $5 million in just, debris. That's the vegetative debris, that sort of stuff. That was what their estimates was for that, $5 million.
Do you want me to talk about it?
I think, the FEMA numbers for the buildings is the homes? and
Yeah,
stuff?
if I can, if John wants to take a
No.
breath for a second, because
Yeah.
we have to talk about debris management, grant management, and property damage. So prior to the storm, I had asked our insurance carrier, FMIT, to mobilize a company named Synergy to help us with any damage assessments and what's called turnkey recovery. And they were on site before landfall. I think the date, I'm losing track of the days, but I believe on Wednesday afternoon, they actually entered Taylor County and started damage assessments for county property. As of last night, that number is $1.4 million just to county buildings. Now, there are two components to our insurance coverage. One of them is called turnkey recovery. So they entered Taylor County the date, I think it was Wednesday, and started the mitigation process. So they are looking at every building, everything that's covered by our property insurance policy, and have already made repairs, temporary repairs. And we will probably Tuesday or Wednesday have an in-depth conversation about permanent repairs. But as far as I know, most of the temporary repairs are either in process or have been made. So that's been going on behind the scenes since before landfall. There is substantial damage to several buildings. One of them is the Supervisor of Elections building. There's roof damage, ceiling tile damage, and carpet damage to the carpeting at the very least. We have another portion of our policy that allows for temporary office relocation for continuity of operations. And that alone is a zero deductible component of our policy and has $1 million limit. So what I would like to do is move forward with requesting a, Ms. Dana, I think it's a mobile home, from what I understand. A single wide mobile home with utilities for up to 6 months. And that would be $0 deductible. And the estimate I got for that was about $35,000. We need to go ahead and move on that. I need to answer yes to that question because of the timing of the election. Plus, I don't think y'all can work out of that building at all at this point. Yes. We also have substantial damage to one of our airport hangars. We have substantial damage to the warehouse that's at Public Works. So I may have to relocate our purchasing agent. We're just going to be doing some scrambling around. There's damage to Station 6. I believe we can move a temporary housing unit in that space. But we are working all this behind the scenes. And there may be more once we open up, which we're scheduled to do tomorrow. So, but the property damage side of it, we've been managing throughout the process. Now, do you have any questions about that before we move to?
Do we know how many of those are beyond repair? The substantial damage?
I don't believe it. No, it's not a total loss. The high estimate is $1.4 million. Now, I haven't spoken with Synergy about that, but I've not heard of a total loss as of this point, but that may change. I believe it's all probably repairable, but we'll know more when we get into it.
Like my question is, countywide. I know when these, hurricanes come through and you'll see, oh, such and such a county has a $25 billion loss. I mean, if you look at our whole county, if they're gonna be if they were to report, any idea of, okay, that's what I was wondering, you know.
There are probably some best guesses out there, but nothing I would want to say.
Okay, well, that'll come out later then,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
assuming.
Well,
Now, did you
yeah.
have damage to your voting, machines and all that?
No, the voting machines were stored in the warehouse, and the warehouse received very little damage.
So I'll move forward with requesting that particular policy, for the additional coverage has $1 million limit. I don't think we're anywhere near that. And like I said, it's a $0 deductible. We know we had a significant increase in premiums, for next year. So, you know, but we have to have these repairs done. I mean, obviously we have to move forward. So Ms. Dana, we're supposed to have a conversation with the, representative probably today. But I'll answer that, yes, we need to, I mean, we have to. I don't really see another solution, and we have coverage for that. And I'm assuming, we'll try to have that on site, but we'll work through that. Now, another big part of this big moving machine is our debris management. So do you want to talk about it, or do you want me to?
I can.
Okay.
Okay, so, 2 days ago, the Florida Department of Emergency Management, in cooperation with FDOT.
Well, hang on, let's back up just a little bit.
About the contract?
Yeah, let's talk about the components of the contracts. So on Monday, prior to the storm, the board, we went through an RFP process to bid out debris management, debris monitoring, which is required, and also a component of the debris monitoring contract is grant management. That is so we can submit public assistance grant requests through FDEM to reimbursement us for all of this, because this is all reimbursable costs. So we had moved forward with the debris management, debris monitoring, and the grant management. They were on the ground the day after the storm. So we could start the process for picking up this debris that's being stacked on the right-of-ways, and then go.
All right, so, as they did with Michael, the governor issued an executive order number whatever, and it basically said that if the county requested it, and a mission had to be submitted to the state EOC requesting that the Florida Department of Transportation assume control and the financial liability or responsibility of the debris management for the county. There were caveats as to if you didn't have current debris management contracts, if you did have debris management contracts. So the decision was made to go ahead and move forward with that, obviously to take the financial burden off of the county. Okay. But with that being said, there was much heartache or headache between the two of us, because obviously we wanted to make sure that our county was taken care of. Because we knew that we had contracts with these people, and that we had made changes to the contracts of old to improve them as to how the debris would be managed for our county. For example, canal and waterway cleanup. All right. Well, so come to find out that Department of Transportation, they do not manage waterways or canals. So we just got done with a meeting today with FDOT. They did answer a lot of our questions. Now, if you want me to get into all the details about that, I will. But just long story short, if that's the information that you want, depending on series was our primary contract. We will retain Series to complete the waterway and the waterway and navigable waterway cleanup, because that is what FDOT does not manage. They said we can retain that part of the contract. And obviously, and that is dependent upon if the contract that FDOT entered to with Series, if that contract carries over, if they renew that contract with them. The second part of that is we can retain the part of the debris management, the debris monitoring parts of the contract, which will obviously only include the waterways. Okay, they'll take care of the monitoring for that part, and they will allow us to retain the grant management, which is a huge part of that.
Good, have they made evaluations of those areas, contractor?
As far as the debris?
They're doing the damage assessments now.
So understanding that, I suppose that'll mean that sounds.
That was a part of that $5 million figure I gave.
Correct, but I'm saying in that, okay, so they've already evaluated that?
They have not completed the damage assessment, so that's, and everything, so here's where we are. In the background, they've been moving forward with a damage assessment, with mobilization, and all of that. The management company and the monitoring company and the grant management has all been moving behind the, since landfall. Because, when you're talking about a storm of this magnitude, we cannot handle all the paperwork and the submissions and following. We can't do that by ourselves, and that is all covered. There is a cap of 5% for the public assistance portion of it. So what we haven't done is pulled the trigger on picking up the debris, and the monitoring company will not be able to complete the monitoring because FDOT has their own company for that. So we will only use that company for the monitoring, for the canal cleanup, and for the grant management. And the city has piggybacked off our contract.
So since they are working through the evaluation, a start date?
Well, no, that's what we're trying to tell you. We do not have a start date because we are waiting to see if their negotiations with FDOT are successful. If our debris management contractor does not accept the FDOT contract, then we have two options. FDOT can bring in somebody else and we'll have to pay for whatever's happened up to this point. And they said that could take a week or two, I think. Did they say about a week?
So
Hold on. I got to finish my thoughts or I'll forget where I was. I'm sorry. So that's one option. The other possibility is that we could withdraw our mission from FDOT and we can continue with our contracts that we have in place, understanding that we have the financial responsibility at that point, which we can do. Now, just so I'm transparent. So if our grants management team enters what's called a PA project and we ask for expedited payment, we could get the funds up front for half of that cost. And we could just continue trying to keep, our reimbursements ahead of our expenditures. And there'll be a little bit of a delay anyway, but we were trying to avoid any financial liability just to protect our reserves. But this is all contingent upon how the negotiations are completed between Series and FDOT.
So, if you will with that, that's two different directions in respect to the canal cleanup and just the debris cleanup on the right of way.
Correct. So as far as the canal cleanup goes, we talked to them specifically this morning about the canal cleanup with the contractor. And John, we're trying to work through some permitting questions, and we have asked, once we kind of work through all of the questions with FDOT, if they can let us know how soon they can start the debris cleanup. They understand this is a priority for us.
For the canals?
For the
Yes,
canals.
Okay, I was in contact, the Secretary of DEP came by yesterday, and I reached out to him today, and I passed along the information to series that the FDEP posted, the notice on their website that due to the weather event, that their, prior authorization for canal or waterway cleanup is not necessary.
So they're cleared through that.
They can begin, as soon as all the rest of this mess is figured out.
We've got to work through the intricacies of the contracts. The FDOT did send us the contract, today. I forwarded it to you, Conrad. It's 32 pages long. And
But help me now, the canal cleanup is not contingent upon the debris or the right-of-way cleanup. They can begin that as soon as they set a time.
That's still dependent on the contract agreement with FDOT.
right.
So they're not willing to do any of the cleanup until they finalize the DOT yet.
Well, I don't want to answer for them, but they need to know what resources they need in this area. And I don't think we have the answer to that question quite yet.
Well, I know currently,
That's what we have.
both of the series and the monitoring, businesses, they have, all this machinery and all this staff have already been staged.
Right.
So, I mean, anyway, I can't say some of that, but they're waiting.
It sounds like logistically, they're prepared to go.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Everybody's logistically prepared to do what needs to be done. It's just now, it's almost as if they're over-prepared.
Well, they don't have a contract finalized.
Because
Right.
if, say, for example, Ceres does not accept the FDOT proposal, well, then FDOT will have to go, and they said that there's an expedited process for this, but they will have to send out their own RFPs and renew these contracts. But we were assured that that's not as lengthy a process as what we had to go through.
I mean, have we talked to our state representatives and such about trying to expedite the process?
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Expedited, yeah.
all that's already in
That's
place.
already been sorted out, and they're aware. I've spoken with all of our legislators about this.
Sure.
They're aware of what's going on, and it's just now DOT and the contractor have to work it out. And if they cannot work it out, then we need to look at Plan B and possibly Plan C.
Do we have a tentative schedule of when we say, hey, this is a drop dead date, they're not gonna work it out?
Well, that's what I was trying to explain to you. Even if Ceres says, or FDOT says that they're not going to take that contract, they are already prepared to expedite the RFP process and bring in a new contractor. And they told us that, like I said, that's gonna be the expedited process. It's not gonna take months, like it did for us to get this process taken care of. All this is already planned out.
So I think
If that eases your mind any.
I'm sure it does.
Well, what is your concern, Commissioner Higgins? What specifically are you concerned about? Are you concerned about the debris removal on the roadsides, or you?
I mean, I think there's concerns with the whole shooting match. I mean, if we're talking about this process that may eventually just bog down and fall apart.
No,
It's not, no, that's not what we're saying.
No, there's a specific plan on how all this is gonna proceed.
So if our contractor decides not to execute a contract with FDOT, FDOT has an expedited process to bring another contractor in. And I believe they told us this morning, like 7 to 10 days or something like that,
Yeah,
which I wasn't too thrilled with.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna take that long.
Right, but, yeah, so,
Probably ask, is there a, end date, or is there a date that they're gonna decide whether our contractor is gonna accept, or if FDOT is gonna accept, is that?
All that's happening today,
So they should have, so they're gonna
within hours.
have an agreement today.
Right.
Then if they do have an agreement, then they'll move forward with the process. If they don't have an agreement, then FDOT's gonna move forward with Plan B.
Right.
And, expedite it.
but no matter what, the monitoring company, the only way they will continue full operations is if FDOT does not assume the contract, or does if FDOT does not assume that responsibility. So no matter what, the monitoring company will have to they're standing down now, and they may demobilize a large part of their operations because FDOT has their own monitoring company that they are going to use. They informed us this morning.
Well, let's just see what happens, because, from what I'm getting out of this, we don't have to worry. It's gonna be done by one or the other. And supposedly at the end of the day, DOT will give us some kind of answer, and then we'll go from there. And I don't see.
You can always, if you want to assume the financial liability now, you can.
But
We don't-
not wait to FDOT, they may assume it for us if it's gonna happen today.
Oh, they will. I mean, that agreement has already been
Let's
made.
see what they say today.
One more quick update, if I could. Aside from the emergency management operations, Public Works, the fire department, environmental services have been in partial operation since landfall, well, before and through landfall. All county offices are scheduled to be open tomorrow, and now that is dependent on restoration of utilities and or any type of property damage. So when everyone comes to work tomorrow, we'll just have to work through department by department if there are any issues as far as continuity of operations. Obviously, the supervisor of elections, we've got to get you situated. We have to, our purchasing department may be displaced for a little while, but I think all other departments will just take one department at a time and see where we
I
stand.
got a question that I want to ask John. Before I ask you, I want to ask John, how in the world did we go from a 14 to 15-foot surge? We got 3 feet in the bottom of our beach houses all. I thought the whole thing was going to be gone. How did that happen? I mean, I'm so grateful, but
Are you talking about?
15 feet surge to no more than we got?
Oh, okay, I understand. So whenever the National Weather Service, or the National Hurricane Center, whenever they put those numbers out, obviously they're going strictly off of the computer models and past. Whenever they tell us, they always say this is the best worst case scenario. Because they don't want to tell us that if they even really think you're only going to get 3 feet, but the computer models are saying 15 feet is possible.
They're gonna say 15.
They're going to say 15 feet for good reason, because the next thing you know, if 15 feet really does happen, they want people to be prepared for it. And that's why even initially through this, whenever we first started off, it started off as being a minor Cat 1. Well, and then as the days progressed, and they always told us when they seen the strengthening happen, okay, now it's forecasted to be a Cat 2, but you need to be prepared for a Cat 3. Then when it got to a Cat 3, you need to be prepared for a Cat 4, and look what hit us. So I kind of feel for them, because they always have to give you the worst case scenario, and luckily for us, most of the time, it's usually not near as bad, but then that's bad for me, because whenever I put the word out to the citizens, it's almost like I'm crying wolf. But I always try to tell people, please pay attention to this, because it could happen. It could really happen.
You're in a position, you have to say what they say.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, you don't make this stuff up, you have to say what they say, but I'll tell you what, it goes right back to all these people that say, see there, I told you it wasn't gonna be bad.
However, there was 10.7 feet in Steinhatchee.
But, I mean, in some areas, it wasn't, and so they'll say, well, and next time I'm not doing it, because it never does this. I told you it was gonna be like this.
Right.
But, everybody prepared, and it certainly got everybody out at Keaton Beach. And, I
just really, I honestly, and I pray that, and it's gonna happen again eventually, that whenever we put these advisements out, that people don't do that. Because the next thing you know, it's really gonna happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are gonna suffer from it.
That's right. But that's what, people, you've probably heard it yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. They'll always say this, and And then they're gonna be more reluctant each time to evacuate because it's never, it's not what they said. And I'm not saying that's your fault. I understand you have to put out the information that's given to you. But that's the downside. That's the good side. The good side is that, you are prepared, and if it did happen, but the downside is they look at the history and I'm not leaving.
Where that 10.7 feet actually happened in Steenhatchee, that could have just as easily happened up on, at your end.
It could have.
Talk to the people in Horseshoe.
That's where it all went.
Yeah.
So LaWanda, my question to you about tomorrow, are the roll-offs gonna be open? Because I'm getting calls this morning. Shady Grove is not open, hasn't been open. Are you aware of that?
Today?
I asked them to get back with me, or is it open right now? And as I walked in the building, nobody knew.
Okay.
But, this just continues to be a problem at Shady Grove.
Well, I know that one day, the attendant had a family emergency and had to leave, and we had no one to fill that
And you
slot.
verified what that
I
is?
did verify that that's what we were told. Of course, I don't know. We've had a lot of moving pieces, but I need to check and see what time the site, I haven't heard that they were closed, but I will check.
Okay, we need some way to get a handle on this when people are not there, not gonna be there, gonna leave early, whatever, that we've got somebody to send there and at least let me know that somebody's walked off and left or it's not open or something, because, maybe something else can happen.
Now, from what I understand, Bernard Johnson was supposed to open today, but I know we still have, I would assume we still have a lot of employees who don't have electricity, but I will check on Shady Grove. I was only aware of the one time that it opened, that it closed early.
It just continues on and on and on at Shady Grove. No solutions.
Well, and I would say that, I did present to the board at the last meeting, which I think was only last week, or whenever it was before the storm, that we would start this daily call-in and check-off. I think we're all doing our best through the storm. I will check and see, what sites are open today, but that is one department that is trying to operate through this. As far as I know, Thursday, we had most sites open. And the only site I know that closed early one day was Shady Grove, and that was due to some type of emergency. I'm not sure what time they're scheduled to be open today. I haven't heard anything, but I will check.
Well, as soon as I hear back from this person, because they contacted me just a few minutes before I left home to come here, and I said, well, is it open today? Because, they were indicating it hasn't been open.
Well, it doesn't open until 2, so no, it's
Well,
not.
then whatever it is, I'm waiting to hear back from them.
Well, right, but it's not supposed to open until 2.
Okay, I get that.
Right.
I get that, but what they're saying though is there's not been anybody there, so I'm waiting to verify that.
Do the best we can. I don't, look at the attitude of people working now. The most responsible people I find out is working in the county commission. We take the results of all feelings, they bring them to us. And every one of them is so important that they ready to knock somebody off. And if we don't deliver right or get right, we ready to knock somebody off. There's a very few people that take this job and take it with the right attitude. And because they pay $14 a month or whatever it is, they really want to tell you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, when you're doing the best you can. If I could go up there to Shady Grove and open that thing up, I would do that. Out of all the 9 we got, I've heard more from Shady Grove than I've heard from anybody else. Is they that hard, or we doing that bad just in Shady Grove?
Well, I'm wondering.
So I was just told that somebody is scheduled to be there at 2, that there was somebody there yesterday. I just asked if that person left early. I do know that at that one particular site, we did have an issue, and we addressed the issue. And, but unfortunately, the one person who had to leave early, whatever day it was at this point, who had the family emergency, which I would expect, I mean, we have those, I would say, you know, we've had more between Public Works and Environmental Services. Those folks have been expected to come to work every single day since the storm.
Okay, stop right there. I'm not pointing it at you. I'm pointing at the people we got working for us. And those people got families too, that they have to listen to and see about. You're doing a good job. You signed them, and it's up to them to carry it out. You cannot carry it out. You cannot carry out all this out there today, and then go down and see about a roll-off site. That's impossible. The area, whoever's responsible for that, let that be their responsibility.
That's right.
And they report to you and tell you what happened, okay? Please do that. You're doing a good job. My thing to you, continue to do what you do and do it well, okay?
Let me say this and add to that. You know, when things go wrong, and there's been more than one incident at Shades Grove, there's been more than two, there's been more than three. It's been a lot of issues there. And the problem is, whatever the issues are in the county, they call the county commissioner. We're the ones that get the blame. They don't know nothing about Luanda. They don't know anything about Gary. They look at us, and when it continues to happen, they want to know, Commissioner, how come you can't fix it? You're not doing your job. So as I've always said, I hate to look bad when somebody else is not doing their job. So it falls on us. It don't fall on Luanda and Gary. It falls on us to look bad. And they're not hired by the public. We are.
But I try to tell the public, please be patient. That's all it is. Please be patient.
Okay, we got about 40 minutes before City Grove opens, so hopefully there'll be no issues there. Move on to number 6. The board to authorize county administrator and clerk to approve invoices during local state of emergency.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I say.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
7, the board discuss upcoming meetings and schedule.
There is a board meeting scheduled for tomorrow. We did not prepare an agenda or send one out. So my question is, do you want to cancel tomorrow's meeting and try to hold it maybe on Gary, is it the 12th that we have the first
Yeah, the
budget
first
public
budget.
hearing?
Yeah, the 10th, we got to set the tentative millage on.
On the 12th.
Is that?
The following Tuesday.
Yes.
Meetings.
So that would put a meeting on the 12th, and then we can, I guess we can talk about the 19th then and see.
So the 19th, we've got to have, because that's when we approve the final millage rate.
So we just want to move tomorrow's meeting to the 12th.
Is there anything that we can do here today that needs to be, that was going to be done tomorrow night? Can we do it now?
No, I don't,
No.
because we didn't publish an agenda. I don't think there's anything earth shattering that cannot wait until the 12th. When I wasn't sleeping last night, I was trying to think about that, but I don't think
I don't
that.
have my calendar in front of me, but if the board wants to schedule for the 12th, that's fine. I have not looked at my calendar. I got a lot going on.
Yes, so.
You just need a motion to combine the scheduled meeting for September the 12th to include a regular scheduled board meeting.
Yeah, we'd move the one on the 5th to the 12th.
But that's scheduled for 5:01? On the
5 o'clock?
Yeah.
On the 12th, so do you want to have the board meeting to follow, or do you want to have it at 6?
To follow.
Okay,
To follow the meeting.
I'll make a motion of that such, if that's an order, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, sir. Have a motion. And a second. for our, tomorrow's meeting to be moved to the 12th, following the 5 o'clock meeting. All in favor?
All that.
Right. Eight, board discuss county operations.
I think I'm sorry, I think I jumped ahead on that. I just, I know.
Can we discuss that?
So the plan is to open up tomorrow. I'm sure we will have issues when we're, I don't know if the elevators are working yet.
I went to the elevators yesterday. They are working. There's water in the north elevator, which Richard is aware of. It's probably from the top shaft. But, so, just 3 departments that I'm checking on. Over half of my people still don't have power. One person at Lori's office has power, the other 6 do not. Shauna is 50% with or without power. Just know that it's gonna be, you're gonna get those calls, because we're not gonna, but we're elected by the people too. But we're gonna get hammered. I've got the flow bus of the state down here now at Pouncey's. They'll be here tomorrow. Internet is not working at driver's license at this time.
Do you have any plans for the flood bus to be staged in other places in the county that folks are not able to travel as much? We got people in Steenhatchee, Shady Grove.
Yeah, I had that conversation Thursday. Horseshoe Beach was their first one.
Yeah, sure.
And they hit it, and I asked, please go to Steenhatchee, and I didn't get Steenhatchee. I got Perry today, which I wanted Steenhatchee today, but I got Perry today and Perry tomorrow.
There's still a lot of cleanup going on there, that's fine. I'm just saying in the coming days, if we could have that option.
Absolutely, and the director is actually down here working today. Robert Kynock is down here working today.
Right.
I met with him this morning at 7:30, so.
I may be having trouble staffing, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm saying if we can coordinate that kind of effort, given the shortages that we have.
Yes.
I
And
think
if Shady Grove needs it, then we'll get on Shady Grove. There are self-contained units, you can get parking, Rockies or Vince or whatever it's called now. Not a problem, but I just want the board to be aware that our services are not gonna be top notch. And you're gonna get calls, and I'm gonna get calls, but it is what it is.
I think everybody's doing as they can with what we have. Our supervisor doesn't have an office.
Exactly.
Once we get the most of.
Well, and I think that's, and to Mark's point, I would like to say that I know that, and Commissioner Spiegel, I apologize every call that you get. And please know that it is a reflection on me, whether the people know it or not. I understand that, but we have people who cannot charge their cell phones, they cannot take a shower, they have families to take care of, and the first thing that we tried to do was clear the roads and open the roll-off sites, because I knew how critical that was. We may not have all our truck drivers tomorrow. Every day we just have to reassess and see what we can roll out, but operations are not going to be top-notch. We're just going to have to do our best. I don't know that I can expect a full staff in a location where we don't have electricity, but it may be a partial staff. But I'm sure it will not be up to par to some people. And, but I think for the most part, most of our employees have been conscientious. They're trying. We're trying to open up animal control so we can take in strays. We actually have resources from the state for that. We entered a mission in WebEOC to try to get our support for our animal shelter, for animal control officers. But I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow and I'm not exactly sure who's going to be able to come to work. And I'm assuming y'all are in the same situation.
I told all mine to come to work. Whether you have power or you don't have power, the product we're going to put out there.
Yes, and that's what we've done as well, but I think that we're still going to have family emergencies, or we're still going to have people who have parents or children they have to take care of. I don't know when the schools are opening back up, but I do know that roll-off sites are absolutely, a priority right now. And
You can live in the city, we haven't had garbage pickup at all.
On the schools.
I haven't either.
I know Point of Grace won't open until Monday, and I think I understand the public school says Thursday. So, I don't think none of this disaster would be a reflection of any individual. I think a lot of businesses and their own operations, private businesses are gonna be closed down, and not open to the citizens, I think. Myself, I think everyone's done a pretty good job at managing through it. I know what the little bit of work I've done, it may have been a lot for some folks, but it's really not a lot compared to what's gotta be done throughout the county. I mean, it was a big deal for somebody, but it's not a big deal in looks through the county, because it's just a total disaster. So,
Would it be helpful, Commissioner Fiegel, if there is an issue with a particular site, if we put a sign up directing them to the next closest roll-off site, would that help? So people know if this site is closed, this, try this other site? I mean, would that help?
Of course, I think that would help, but, we gotta make sure that somebody does that. So, all the problems. If somebody will let the public know that, or let me know it, then yeah, we can make that happen. And during this time right now, I know offices are gonna be short. We're gonna be short. The public doesn't understand that. Maybe some of them do.
They understand that, because most of them work somewhere. They know it, because most of them work somewhere.
Yeah, but we still get the calls of the complaints and the expectations and everything else, and that's just the way it is during this disaster. But when we're not in a disaster, that's a whole different story. We've already talked about that many times. But for right now, yes, that would be fine if we can let me know, and if we can do that, that's fine. Now, I know that Eridu roll-off was open, for that day when whoever it was had to leave. Eridu was open, but you know how it is. That is with the public.
That's all we got on the county operation. Pretty clear on what we're doing there. Well, this is the end of our meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
What happened? Trying to get a. You enjoyed last night.